one. Tatum had a nice game. Did you see that?
Yeah. All right, we're back live. Sean Childs and Eddie Gillis. I'm from fantasyanalyst.substack.com, also on Fantasy on SI, and I'm gonna do an NFBC online championship. It's my CLQ. Eddie's gonna be my sidekick, and give me a little break when I'm looking at picks, and tell me what I'm doing wrong, and hopefully we can educate a little people on what we're thinking, and not that we're going to get it right, but we're going to try. The goal when you're doing this, unfortunately, most of us when we're playing this, we're not trying to win the league. We're kind of trying to win the overall championship, and then as the season goes, you'll know right away are you got most of the pieces right, or you have to settle into maybe getting 85, 90 points and maybe winning this type of league. So I'm going to put on the the draft boards up here, but I'm going to show you a couple things. So I each year before the season, I do this thing called fantasy point score, and it kind of shows what each player's values were from last year. So included in this article on my Substack page is last year in the online 12-team championship at the NFBC, there was 2,808 teams in this contest. The midpoint batting average was 253.6. So if you hit 253 or 6, you were just like middle of the pack. So I think it was kind of interesting to be in the 20%. It was only like 261 maybe or something like that, and maybe a little bit lower than. It was really, really tight. Even the bottom tier was like 247. That was like 900 spots below 950 spots below the medium. So 253.6 was the medium. Needed 1,057 runs, 317 home runs, 1,027 RBIs, and 173 steals. And that player basically was, I think it was around 75 runs. This is for 14 players on the team. 75 runs, 22 something in home runs, 73 something in 73 RBIs, just over 73, and then you needed, I think it was 12.2 points for stolen bases. That's a pretty impressive player to get there. And then on the pitching side, the medium in wins was 84. Typically, when I think of any time in the contest in NFBC, I want to get like 4 wins a week. There's really 27 scoring periods. There's a half week to start the season, a half week in the All-Star break. But it's really difficult to reach that plateau. So you probably only need 96. The save total is down to 60. Last year, the medium 60. So if you get a 40 save guy, he's pretty impressive. And even on this grid here, I show if a guy gets 40 saves, you gain 7.52 points in the overall standings. Obviously, most of those are going to come in the save category. So you could be a negative in some of the other ones, but that player is still going to be have some value. They'll give back some points in wins and strikeouts, because in this, the way I did it, the average pitcher is 147.4 innings. That's basically 1,326.2 point divided by 9, which is the midpoint of how many innings were pitched last year by that total. And what you're doing, if you get a guy that pitches 200 innings, they're going to gain more. The medium ERA was 3.771, WHIP 1.200, and the medium for Ks was 3.26. So that's your, you kind of have to hit those levels to kind of get, just the middle of the pack. So the goal is to get, some players that can beat those scores. And you probably, in order to win the overall, you're going to have to really dominate on all 10 categories, but you're really going to have to get 3 or 4 categories elite. So what do you think of, when you're looking at those numbers? It's pretty beastly to get 300 home runs, RBIs and runs probably okay, but the 173 steals just to be middle of the pack,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of tricky there. So, but the save thing's a lot different. So yeah, so that's what I this document just kind of goes through how I did it and some draft trade-offs and stuff like that. But it kind of shows when you're looking at it how I came up with all the points, and I've done this a number of years, and I have a lot of overall standings. And then we jump over here, and this is just basically since the beginning of I think the beginning of January, I started writing about players. I pulled the ADPs from early January And these ADPs that I'm looking at on this particular section, are early January. Unfortunately, I couldn't change them because of, when I'm going through catchers or outfielders, I don't want to, jump ADPs and miss 2 or 3 players and screw it up. So there is on this page is, 45 infield positions, catchers, first base, second base. I only wrote about 25 of each, which is pretty deep for a 12-team league. For the 14-team, the 15-team event, and most of us will need a little bit more than this, but I do know the player pool a little bit better. And just by doing the projections, I'll get to know that. And then off to the right here, you can see that the color code, which I highlighted, and the same thing. It's the outfielders. I did 90 of them. There's 150 listed, and there's I think I did 120 starting pitchers. There's 150 listed on there, and then the closers. I listed the closers there, and then I put their backup closers in the next column, and then I put the other backs, 15 possible closers. And the closer work needs to be addressed and stuff like that. So this is what I was talking to you offline, Eddie, of like if you needed to look something in the background, some of these highlights might help you identify names when you're kind of going through a crappy ADP list for the NFBC. Any thoughts on that?
Can you even make it bigger, or is that just the way it is?
It's a full screen for me. I mean, technically I can, I'll add the link to this when I push this out to everybody, so they can see it. But when I do it, it takes up my whole computer screen. And obviously, when we're playing this, we only have a limited space to do it. I mean, I can only, push it out with us two on the side and show that. So, and then, basically I had a couple more things. What do we got? How many more minutes on this thing before I go? We got
7 minutes.
Yeah. So, so then I did the projections for hitters, and this is just like kind of the batting orders and, potential playing time. And this is, this is just to give a view of what it potentially would look like. Like Jackson Holiday, he's got 139 games. I think he's going to be ready for the start of the season with a hammer bone and not miss much time. But, if he's batting leadoff and he's plays 139 games, this is what he would do. His skill set, I think, is in pretty good shape. The rest of it, it's just a matter of the playing time. And if he was going to hit ninth and somebody else is going to bat first, all I have to do in front of this, I have another part of the spreadsheet. I can just switch it from 1 to 9, change the batting order, change the number of games that somebody hurt, and it just sorts and it produces the same numbers. And it's pretty good, way to kind of look at the player pool rather than when you're seeing somebody does projections. Like I actually have a page where all these projections, I could say, based on what happened last year, how off am I these team projections? So they're all there for all the teams. Let's see, I got to get rid of this thing. And then when I ran the projections for the rankings, this is how they came out by position. Ohtani was number 1, Ronald Acuna number 2, Witt 3, and surprisingly Judge is 4th. 51 home runs, and I got him as the 5th best player in fantasy value. And granted, these guys are all from you gain 10 points, over 10 points with Judge, and you gain 12.72 with Ohtani, and you can see their numbers. They're pretty impressive. Whatever. So you go from there, and then I broke them down to each position, how they would be at catcher, first base, and the yellow line is basically showing based on the 12 projected first baseman. That's what the average of the 12 would be. So basically this, six player. So you're trying to what do I have to draft at a position to beat that, to gain an edge in that, and that's just kind of gives you a good look at it. And they're based on projections, and I could do the same thing on final results from last year and stuff like that. So, but there's a bunch of tabs in here, and it goes all the way through. And the starting pitching has the same thing. And Scooble is first, Skeens, Sale, DeGrom, Gilbert, Crochet's dropped down a little bit for me, and then Kate Smith. But like I said, I'll push this out when we get to it, and we're not going to really look at this part of it when I'm doing the the draft. I'll have this ADP thing up there, but basically we'll be looking at the draft, and the draft's got 3-something minutes. So that's it's a pretty intense spreadsheet to look at, but I think there's people that go into and looking at. So when you're doing draft champions early in the year, I think that would be pretty helpful.
Now, if you had the second or third pick, Would you pass on Judge?
I had two drafts. I never got well. I did 3 draft champions. 2 of them had 2, and I took Judge on the first one, and then I took Acuna on the second one. And this is before I had done all the projections and stuff. And the only reason that Acuna projects higher than Judge and even De La Cruz is that De La Cruz, I got him with 50 steals, and Acuna with whatever steals, I can't even remember, but that extra value. But that doesn't mean that you draft Judge that you can't find a way to get the complimentary steals out of somebody else. So it's some sort of building block. It's really close, but it's an interesting view. But you also can look at the end of the year with those components that I use for the fantasy points gain score to see if they actually lived up to expectations. And obviously, a lot of players that don't reach it, might have some injuries or something like that, or they underperformed, or they lose playing time for whatever reason. So, but yeah, Judge, all of those players that you are up front are really, really attractive, but it's just a matter of, who you want to get in the second round or something like that to build with it. If you take, just say you pick 5 or 6 and you take a starting pitcher, who are you looking as a hitter in the second round? And then if you take a, hitter in the first round, where do you want to go with the ace? And those are the decisions that kind of make or break what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't love the end of that second round either. A lot of different ways, but you're in a good spot. You're going to get 2 good ones at 11.
Yeah, at the end of in a 12-teamer, the auction.
Oh, that's true. It's a 12-2. I'm talking about 15s. That end of the second round. Sometimes I don't love it if my guys don't make it to me.
Yeah, I think that's. What do you think? There's probably about. There's 15, 18, 19, there might be like 20, 21, 22 players that you feel comfortable with, in the second round, 6 or 7 guys. And I saw earlier today, somebody shipped me the $5,000 league draft. There was 5 closers drafted in the second round in the $5,000 DC today.
Wow.
Is that just crazy? They just ran them off the table.
Yeah, the pitching is going to move up, especially the starting pitching too. Like, you might, Yamamoto might even be going at the end of one early too.
He went pick 30.
Really?
Yeah, and
Ohtani the closers got really pushed up.
Yeah, and Ohtani went to pick 2. Yeah, and I think that actually the other thing with the online championship here is that you get a lot of different people that come from different areas, so there might be a lot of different directions. Some teams will just want to get a lot of offense. Some will be pitching heavy and stuff like that, and you just don't know how these are going to break and how you want to do it. I wanted to get pick 9. I wanted to start with like a Skeens because I just want to have them in this online championship. I don't know if I can get them in the main event. I got them at pick 11 the first time, but based on this, this draft, I don't think that's going to break that way. But we'll see. At least I'm not on live stream and. See what happens. But we're going to go off in 7 seconds, and we'll see what happens. I would imagine it pretty goes straight script. Team 3 is listed on auto, out of the gate, but that doesn't mean he's not back.
That happened last night in the league. Vlad was doing it. Was Team 4 or 5 was auto the whole night, and that just that's an advantage to the players, though. I'd want to be in one of those leagues,
Yeah, I've seen John Statmuller do a lot of best ball leagues with 10 teams. And he has it on auto, but technically he's behind there moving his cue up and down and letting it run off. So that's a little bit different. The person was on auto jumped off of it before he made his pick. Sorry, he went Soto. Went Witt. Soto. I guess I could probably put up the draft board and kind of jockey. That might be easier to see when we're going back and forth. Yeah. So I'll leave it on the draft board until it gets to me. That's, easy to see. So Ohtani, Judge, Witt, Soto, Skubal. I guess when you look at Soto, do you think he is going to deliver that many steals? They're over under. I looked at one of the sports books. They had the over under him for 37.5 home runs. So that's a pretty strong number saying that he's going to repeat the power. What do you think about that?
I would say, I don't think he's going to repeat the speed. I would say if you got 25, he'd be pretty happy. 25 to 30 maybe. I don't know if he's going to get close to 40 again, but I can't see him being any less than 25 either. He had 38, so and he's definitely got the power. My buddy Ab's got Soto #2, Sean, and he's one of the best players I know. Surprised when I heard that, because I got Soto more like 5 or 6. So I take Acuna at 4. He's still on the board.
Yeah, I mean, and looks like sorry, somebody stopped the clock. Yes, sir.
Yeah, somebody wanted Acuna.
Worried about losing power here too. What are you getting in the league for? Losing power? I don't know. Somebody, brief pause. Somebody, what do they say? There's a guy.
6 picks in, we got a stoppage.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what do you?
He's out of power.
This is going to be a 5-hour slow, 12-team draft. It's turned into a slow draft, but yeah. So they're I don't know what happened there as far as I don't think anybody got the wrong pick, but somebody mentioned that they might lose power. Yeah. But as far as Soto is, like, I loved him earlier in his career, but I actually thought he was going to be one of those win the batting title type of guy and hit really score a lot of runs, hit home runs and RBIs, and steals would maybe be 10 to 15, but a really, really good foundation batting average bat. And he just
what did you last year, Sean?
It was under
270 or?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I could probably.
You would think he would give you. You'd want 300 out of him, but I don't think he's done that the last couple of years.
Yeah. He's just let me see it. Like I said, it's just but that, like I said, that's the key. And I guess these days, like 260 is considered 280 before. Yeah. So if you're hitting 300, that's really like 320. I mean, there wasn't how many players hit over 300 last year. There wasn't a lot. So yeah, so we're in stall mode. I guess they're back on the clock, and this guy is on auto. It looks like. So, I mean, not that he's on auto, but he turned it on. It's a longtime veteran player. Maybe he's losing power. Oh, look at that, he stole him. Ronald Acuna, number 7. That's a great deal. I mean, obviously he's got to stay healthy.
263.
263. Yes, I mean, but he takes a ton of walks. I think he's been, to get the power. He swung a little bit more, he took the walks, but he had more strikeouts, trying to, put the ball in play. And
he's a career 400 on base percentage. Last year he was 396. So, he'd probably be better in an on base percentage league, actually.
Yeah. So Acuna, Dela Cruz looks like he just might like pop this year. He's kind of just sits there. He kind of like not the ideal piece.
Sean, you're one pick away. You might get Skeens.
Don't be talking. These guys might. As soon as you mention a name,
these guys are going to pick who they want. They're not going to pick him.
Look at you just got me like. He went one pick before me, so I'm going to go off the board here, and I'm going to take Julio. I'm going to Rodriguez. Figured that he's just a good guy that really hasn't popped and been basically been a 30-30 guy. And he has the potential to be a lot better player. Coming into his prime, and maybe this is a year he could be the Cal Raleigh of Seattle and have more of an impact year. The batting average, it really hasn't got there, but the rest of the categories are good. Like I said, I tried. I put my KDS at 9, 10, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 11, 12. So I was the last guy out of the chute at 12, and I got pick 11, and but I did get Skeens and Crochet in the first one. So now I will be free will in how I build this team, totally different in my decision making, which is kind of good. But this is a CLQ; it's kind of important. So,
CLQ.
Yeah, I'm the only one in this draft that has a CLQ. So I could have had, if I take Crochet there, it would have been fine. But like I said, my projections didn't come, ideally. But now, the team build is different. So I'm pretty sure that when it comes back to me, did Tucker get a minor injury today? No, his wife's having a kid. So if Tucker makes it back, I'm going to take him, I think, because I'm going to just
over Crochet.
Crochet went already. He went to.
You put the board up. You can't see it.
Yeah, Carroll's still sitting there. I do like him. I'm just going to try to get a piece of the Dodgers offense. Tatis is a good player. I've lost the luster of him. I still think he can potentially, have that monster season. But I guess his father was at the trainer at Profire in San Diego. So maybe he's look at him. He took a Tucker. I'm talking him up. So you know what? I'm going to take Carroll. I'm going to go with. I'm going to load up on the speed. And get some power. Carroll has the hamate bone injury. I think he'll be back. So this is a totally different team build than I was hoping. Like I said, I'm not going to have many chances at these 12 teamers. So what do you think? Carroll, would you double up with Carroll there? Camaro, would you take Kurtz? Tatis, which one would you have done?
I would have gone Carroll over Tucker. So who were your other? Because Tucker was gone. Who are your other options there? Yeah, I can see it now. I think I might have gone Carroll there because everything sounds good. He might even be ready to go right at the start of the year. So you're going to get the speed, and anything over 20 homers. I'd like to see a 20, 40, 20, 50 with good average, over 100 runs. So yeah, I think a safe pick, and you're off to a great start with speed. I think Rodriguez was 30-30. So yeah, good start for power and speed. You probably got 50, 60 homers there and 50, 60 steals.
Yeah, there is value at a lot of the positions. What do you with the Tatis? Is he close enough to Tucker to you? Or are you taking him over Tucker?
Now who's that?
Tatis and Tucker.
Tatis. I've done 15 leagues. I don't think I have him. So there's usually something else I like more. So I haven't gotten Tatis. I haven't gotten Tucker yet either. Carroll, I do have about 4 shares of, so I do like him. I got a couple of Crochets. I got a couple of Camineros. I got a couple of Schemes. So a couple of Vladdies. No Chisholm though. I don't want. I'm off at Chisholm. I think he's just going way too high. He's had injury problems in the past. So no Chisholm. I'm not going to have any. I do have some Charisse. I've got a couple of shares of him. And I got him actually late, second to last pick in a 15, so that was kind of a value pick too.
Caminero had I think his over under in home runs I thought was around 33, so that's a pretty respectable number. Yeah. The Nick Kurtz Vlad thing is interesting to level. Like Vlad's got the longer resume, can hit for average, but just doesn't hit enough balls in the air. And look at that. Even Alonso's going in front of Nick Kurtz, so that's somebody down the front there is going to be pretty happy. So, I mean, is Nick Kurtz a slam dunk to beat Vlad for you, or even beat Alonso, or are those two choices?
I think Kurtz and Guerrero are close. That I'd be happy with either one there. Might go Guerrero just because he's done it a little longer. Kurtz is the 1 year, but he's got big time power. Like I said, I would be happy with either one, and maybe even split them up if I had a chance, one of each. I think I do have like 2 Vladdies, and I have 2 Kurtz, so I have kind of been splitting them up.
Yeah, the other one is Raleigh kind of slid in this one too.
Raleigh, I do like.
Yeah, so it's it's an interesting debate. Raleigh, when I did his projections, I only had him hitting 226. He had 30-something home runs. His over/under is 39.5 home runs at MGM, I think it was looking at, and that's a lot of respect. I had him at 7 steals. I don't know if he's going to run more, but I think he's going to have for sure a pullback in batting average. But he did get better as a player, and it's tough to dismiss somebody hitting 60 home runs. Sometimes when those guys get in a home run groove, it kind of lasts for a couple of years. But he's just he's an edge at catcher, but is he a big enough edge where you're giving up some player? And I mean, I would say that Kurt, even though you're taking Kurtz, you really think that he has an upside in what he did before. But Raleigh kind of has shown what he can do a little bit longer. At least he's got 30 home runs multiple season. He added the 60. Going to hit the good part of the lineup. His strikeout rate went down to like 26%. His walk rate was over 13%. That was pretty impressive. So, but most of these teams are going to be pretty strong at a bunch of positions, probably for 10 rounds, and then you kind of have to make the rest. Yamamoto's been sliding a little bit in drafts over the last couple of days. I know you really liked him last year. That's a pretty good deal there.
Yeah, I'd be happy with Yamamoto there, and I would probably be taking him there if I was there. I think I would have taken Yamamoto there. But Kurtz too was a nice little slide, and Raleigh, all 3 excellent picks. Alonso a little early. I do like him, but I mean, sometimes he's going in that third round. So usually the other three go ahead of him.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at it, it's like
That's about right. Turner and Miller both about right.
yeah, the Miller thing is kind of interesting because everybody loves him. He's a great arm, strikes at a bunch of guys, but I don't know if the San Diego starting pitching staff, could break down for me. I don't know. I think a couple other relievers are going to get more saves than him. Maybe not as match him in strikeouts, but he's been a slam dunk number one closer. I think of the whole draft season, hasn't he? Gone first.
Yeah, it's him and Diaz. They're probably neck and neck. Miller might be a couple of picks. I'd be pretty happy with either one of them. And the Cleveland guy too, Cade Smith. I kind of like him a lot. And that we have 108 Ks too with taking over. Some people are off him. They want to see him do it again, but I definitely like him. There's Nito, another possible 30-30 guy. I got him in my last draft in the third round, also at 3-2 and a 12-teamer. So, and then Lindor, that's not too bad. I've seen him go early in that, so that's not too bad of a. I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, the doubling up at shortstop. I am a fan of doing that this year because I think that I can punt the second baseman down the draft board a lot, and I'm happy when I take the second shortstop. I figure that I'm getting a good second baseman, and my second baseman is like a middle guy. Is comparable to a middle guy. So I do think that doubling at shortstop's viable. James Wood had that kind of a really slump last season. Schwarber, ton of home runs, but just like I said, most of these players are, everybody's going to be on, these same group of players are just going to go in a little bit different order.
Yeah, I've seen Woods going later than that. Did he strike out almost 200 times? It was a big K rate, a lot of swing and miss, a real bad second half.
Yeah, I think he's another one of those guys like De La Cruz that his contact batting average can be can potentially be over 400. That makes his floor for batting average, more like 250 or league average, rather than when you're normally seeing a guy striking out 200, you think that guy's going to hit like Schwarber did a couple of years ago, hit 200, under 200 or 210, or Rob Deere earlier in his career and stuff like that. So we'll see here. We got Yordan Alvarez, which I had a discussion with you offline, a different league, like could that guy finally pop, stay healthy. He's a utility guy, but, he can hit for average. His 34 years of hitting 30 home runs, but is he a foundation piece? I'm stuck at when I'm picking, I don't have a starting pitcher. Both guys on both sides of me have one each. I don't have a closer. Get in that position and do that right down. So the guy, it's almost like the guys like listen to me talk on the, team thing because they're Skeens, Alvarez. But so basically, most people have been taking Gilbert, and he looks really, really impressive. I like Hunter Brown a lot. And also, like I said, we talked about, Cade Smith and just coming out of it. So I think on this turn that I'm pretty balanced as far as speed. I potentially could catch a viable third baseman on the 5-6 turn from where I'm at. So I think that I'm going to wait there for, that kind of power. So I'm going to go first base, at pitcher. I'm going to take Hunter Brown just because he's, pretty solid player, in going in the right direction. Gilbert pitched really, really well. It seemed like he got that swing and miss pitch last year. Everything lines up for him to be even better, but he did miss some time with an injury, and that has to be some sort of factor in the decision making. And then, I'm going to take a closer in the next pick. I'll take Cade Smith, and I'll stick to my guns that, he could potentially, Cleveland closers have got 40 saves. Class A did a lot. And I think last year somebody would have saved 40 games if they had the whole job. And he's a guy that potentially make 70 appearances, makes him have a better chance of getting to 100 strikeouts. But, you got Diaz and Munoz.
What do you don't even mention Diaz? You got no interest in him, Sean?
I just think that I do. He rated pretty good for me. I just think that they'll kind of split it a little bit, where the Scott will get just enough, But he had that 56 saves that one season for Seattle a long time ago. But it's not like I don't like him. but I just don't like the Dodgers, mixing it up a little bit. All the numbers line up. He could strike out 100 guys, and the whip was good. He's pitching on a lot better team. They're going to have a lot of chances to win games, but there was also going to be chances, compromised by the Dodgers blowing out some teams and not creating save chances. So I think they had 46 saves last year, and the Dodgers bullpen had 44 wins. So there's a lot of activity there. That's helpful. So I don't know.
They're close. I'm big on Cade Smith too. So I'd be happy to get one of those closers here and get one of the better ones, and you don't have to worry about it. You can even get a second, not even a great one later, but you definitely want to get a guy that's got a good chance for the 40, 46. You already got your starting pitch. You've already got 2 30-30 guys, so off to a nice start here. Unless you don't want to go close, you want to go another pitcher.
Yeah. So the other thing, you're trying to win. I don't know if you win multiple leagues overall. I did draft in my CLQ DC. I started with Acuna, Hunter Brown, and Cade Smith. So I might as well pile it on and take a beating and match those two players. And I do have similar speed with Acuna, and I'll just kind of figure it out. But I went with Cade Smith.
Oh, okay, good.
Cade Smith's still there. Brian Wu, I know you're a big fan of it. Just weird because all the other Seattle pitchers that looked like they were healthier going into last season, pitching a bunch of innings, and Wu looked the riskiest, and he stayed healthy. I just think, could he go the other way? But I'm not sure. So, but that's interesting. I'll go back to the draft board for this talk to me again. Sorry about that. So, Machado, steady player with Crochet. Got Diaz and Tucker. He's got a piece of everything. Probably needs a little bit. I would think he needs another base dealer with power on the next round, and then maybe figure out another pitcher, in the next 2 rounds after that. Team 1's going to have to probably figure out his plan for starting pitch, and Team 3 is just kind of build offense out of the game. So same with Team 5 and Team 7. Team 6 and 7 are NFBC veterans. I don't know a lot of the other names, as far as seeing them from, seeing them just looking at them. But I think if Greg was doing this, the names would have been blocked. But unfortunately, this will only be probably shown on Substack. I'm not doing this live. I'm just going to push it out to the Substack people I've been writing for and stuff like that, and go there. So Chris Sale and Gilbert, I kind of like that combination, right? Dela Cruz with Vlad, and then you got Sale with Gilbert.
Yeah, nice start by 8. 2 good hitters, 2 stud pitching. So he'll worry about his closers later. And in a 12, you can do that because it's not a 15 where it's more desperate.
Yeah, it's like I said, there's just the interesting team builds. Like I said, in that the closers. I know you want to get the security, but I think in a 12-teamer, if you have a lot of more flexibility where you can get saves off the waiver wire where they don't cost as much. You don't have to NFBC main event. Might have to pay $200 or $300 if the guy gets a job and he looks like he's a pretty good player earlier in the year. Where I think the 12-teamer, you have once in a while people will do that, but in general, maybe they're 100 or so. I wish there was I probably wish I would have kept track of what they go for in both formats. Last year I did pull all the bids for the main event, and I do have them in a document for the 15-teamer. And maybe you could run a comparison, and it'd probably be a lot easier where you got the AI to potentially do that for you. But yeah, so Langford, pretty good player there. So Scooble, Alonso, Crow Armstrong, Langford. I really actually that profile fits what I like, to do. I got an ace with 3 players that potentially Crow Armstrong and Langford could give speed. Maybe a little more speed. You would like. Maybe the first baseman to chip in a little bit, but it's really, really close. The average has potentially be better if Langford could pop. Next one's Terang, going with 4 hitters right away. He's got batting average risk. Terang's going to give him some speed, hopefully move up in the lineup. Soto could be a monster and maybe pop in the batting average, but there is a little bit of risk in that team build for me. If all the pieces, if Soto doesn't run, and he doesn't hit for high average, and Raleigh regresses. And Neto had such a great season last year, and he missed all those games, but he was really early, kind of had a 30-30 profile. And Terang, 2 years ago, he had 50-something steals, so he could actually run more. He showed more power last year. I'm not sure he's going to push much further than that, but pretty solid player.
Is that a little early for Terang or?
Yeah, I'm not. I can look at the other. Where he went for Terang.
Also, while you're looking that up, how about Reagan's going before Woo? I haven't seen that happen too often.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, Reagan's is. I know you've drafted him and stuff like that, but he's got a little bit of risk for me.
Oh,
So
he definitely has risk. I've got 5 shares of Woo, 4 of Reagan. I've done 15 draft masters. So when I say 2, 3, 4, that's quite a bit. 15 of them, and pretty happy to get 5 Woos and 4 Hunter Browns and 4 Reagans. So yeah, I'm definitely taking those pitches early. I've been lucky on Reagan. I've been getting Reagans a lot at the end of round 4 and 15 teamers. I mean that so he middle of 4 and a 12. He definitely wanted them because that's a little early. And he got whacked the other day too. Sometimes it go when a pitcher gets whacked, sometimes it he'll drop a few picks, but Cole Reagan certainly did not drop at all.
Yeah. The DeGrom thing, I think he's going to start moving up a little bit. Pretty good. That's a pretty good. You figure close to an ace with Miller. You got Ohtani and Turner. That's pretty good to come there. And Team 2 went with three starters, trying to build that foundation with a big bat up front. And then you got 4 hitters with Brent Rooker with so Matt Olson. Kind of was hoping that type of player would make it back to me, so that's going to put me a little further down at the first base position. I do like the Braves structure a lot this year with Acuna going to be better. Olson had 76 hard hit balls last year, but he had the lowest percentage of home runs. He had 29 and I think the league average is around 48%. So if he had hit that, he would maybe hit a 37, 38. So I think he really bounced back in runs back in home run this year. And his RBI chances increase, and they got to actually maybe the Braves run a little bit more there.
Yeah, we're both big Matt Olson guys. I got 5 shares out, 5 out of 15. So that's a nice pick. Usually, it's nice if you can get them late 4 in a 15. Sometimes even in the 5th round in 15. So I guess that's probably about where he goes. Maybe even a little early in a 12.
Yeah, both those Betts and Olson went early in draft, basically, because I got Olson at pick 59 twice when I had Acuna and Judge in a 15-teamer. So that's a pretty strong move. But when you're doing a 12-teamer to a 15-teamer, you're really still getting your 5th player to build. So sometimes you're looking for that power or something, and that player will slide forward, where some other players at different positions will move back. And in Betts, he was going at the end of the 5th round, so that's a pretty strong play for him too.
Yeah, that's early. That's early for Betts because he's usually going in the 5th round in 15 teamers times 5. So he's about 10, 14 picks early. So, but hey, if you like him, most likely he's not going to come back to you. So, get your guys.
It's in a great lineup, and he's just going to get RBI chances. He looks like he should bounce back. He was underweight or whatever happened last year. And the Dodgers, if they do what they're supposed to and everybody stays healthy, that top 4 in that lineup should be pretty impressive.
And he's batting 3rd, Sean. I mean, I love that. I mean, he's going to score. I mean, if he's healthy, he's 120 runs, 90 ribbies. Like you said, he was 25 pounds underweight last year. He's healthy now. I think he's a little angry too because he kind of had an off year, and people are saying, he's losing a little bit. So I think Mookie's going to, as long as he stays healthy, I think Mookie's going to bounce back with a very nice year. But I do like getting him a little later than that.
Yeah, the Abrams for the Team 5 with the Scooble really kind of solidifies, his balance of base stealing and potential, power. Everything looks pretty good there. But the problem is, when you take that edge with a Scooble is like, how far down do you want to take that next starting pitcher? And you want to make sure that you get a strong pitching staff. If you got Scooble, you don't want to give away your edge. So we'll see if he, what he does in the next couple picks, and if he, lands on a couple of starters at least to get, those secondary aces. But look at that quickly. Three catchers in a row run off the table. Contreras kind of have a down year. Langeliers kind of emerged last year, more power hitter. Rice really a lot of respect in early drafts. But this, they signed Bellinger, and then but Stanton's got a little banged up, so his chances look better. So, but Rice is kind of a wild card. I mean, are you Rice somebody you would draft? Are you looking somewhere else or?
No, I'm off of Rice. I mean, they just signed Goldschmidt, so he's at best he's in a platoon. Just so many players I like more. He's one of the guys I think should be going, around the too late. I think we talked about that in the last draft. I'm not a Rice guy. I just think he goes too early. There's too many good options. I like there. So, and like I said, he's going to be a platoon player. So I mean, he's on the good side of the platoon, but still, you can get a guy that can get you 700 at bats there, or 650, not 500 or 525 or whatever he's going to get.
Yeah, so I'm an interesting thing. Hunter Green gets drafted with his little elbow, so we don't know where that lies.
Oh.
So he wasn't discounted. But Logan Webb, led the National League in innings 3 consecutive years. He got 3 closers in a row. Kirby, I like him with his command. He could pop, but he missed a little time. Ryan's a little banged up. Radish coming short innings, and Cease, who tends to have a negative whip. So I definitely think I need to take a starter on this turn. And I think Kirby's the best command guy. And if he ever could get a little bit better where he could strike out more batters per 9 and be a little more challenging to hit, he could approach being more of a kind of a guy that could be a type of ace. So I'm going to go with him. My other choice is going to be taking a first baseman type just to kind of solidify the power. But I think I don't want to go too far down the line and be cute with a pitching in a 12-teamer. I kind of want to be pitching strong because my goal is to make a run at the overall. And so I think he has the command, and based on the names that are there without moving a lot of players, he was the one most attractive. I wasn't going to take a closer. And then when you're looking at like the other positions, Devers, is a good player, minor injury, but he kind of fits what I would like. I think Freeman would make sense. Naylor, I'm not sure he's going to, run. Riley, I think he's an advantage of power at third base, and I'd be okay with him. So, that's what I was looking at when I was thinking there. So that group of players is kind of interesting. I think Duran kind of a little further down stands out for me. But yeah, so Devers went. So I would probably, because I'm one pick away, I'm probably just going to go and play it safe with the Dodgers and take Freeman. Figuring he's in a better lineup. I know Naylor had the steals last year. I've been a big fan of Pasquantino last few years, but I think I'm just going to go with a lineup there. What do you think about that? I mean,
I think Freeman is about as safe as you can get. So I think I would take Freeman over Naylor or Pasquantino. So yeah, I like that. And you took Kirby. I like that. It would either be Kirby or Webb, and I probably would have gone Kirby. I like Kirby a lot. I think he had a bad strand rate, so his ERA is going to be much better than last year, and his controls like he's the best in baseball. So could you have doubled up on that? I mean, could you have gotten Webb too, or did you already?
No, he was picking. I wasn't going to take Webb. I think I'm okay with the two that I have. I don't think I have the best thing, but if I get enough depth and stuff like that, so right. I'm just going to take Freeman.
Yep.
I have enough speed, and stuff like that. I get some home runs. He's a lot older, but he does, he does sneaks, a few steals in there. So, you could say that, and potentially I could be at that 75 range that I like to have, after, each one of those players, they, Rodriguez 30 home runs, Carroll 20, and Freeman 25. I mean, that's 75, and Rodriguez 30, 35, 40. And if I get 5 out of Freeman, maybe 10. Yeah, I think I'm in 75. Got some saves, so I think I'm balanced. The batting average, potentially could be, a lot better than expected. But Carroll didn't do it last year, and Freeman was like 260. Rodriguez was 267. So, like I said, we're drafting on the fly, and we don't really, I didn't really have a plan other than, like I said, I want to start with Skeens and see what happened there. So.
Sean, we got a visitor. It's my grandson, Jeremy Gillis. Hi. Just told him he's on television.
Is he the fastest running back on the team that should get more carries? Is that the guy?
Jeremy, tell him.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the fastest running back on the team that should get more carries, and he will this year.
What round will he go in the NFL draft when he gets there?
Oh my God! In a Pop Warner draft, he'd be in the first round for sure. He's the best defensive player too. All right, you want to sit down? You can sit. If you want to sit, you can, but you got to be quiet now.
Yeah. So Jackson Merrill went. Josh Naylor went after Freeman. Talked about him a little bit. Chapman. So a little bit of these other closers. I don't think I don't sense that this draft, whereas some of those main events, they're not charging the relief pitchers off the board there. Team 7 veteran guy just taking the power. He says he can get out. He could be in trouble with his starting pitch, and he's got a good offense, plenty of speed. With 3 guys that run right away. Got power at catcher, a little bit of batting average risk. Riley's, look he should bounce back, but he's a 30 home run hitter when healthy. He was another casualty for the Braves last year. Jackson Merrill, kind of got a lot of hype last year. Had a good rookie season. I guess we don't know if he's going to run. Does he fall in a draftable, area where you ever take him, or is he just neutrally and you don't fight for that type of guy?
I haven't gotten him yet, but all the smart guys are grabbing him. So I mean, if he slid, he'd have to slide about 10 picks or something for me to grab him. But like if he was if he slid a little bit, I would consider him now. Where like a month ago I wouldn't have, because you got to figure he's got to be 10 to 15 steals anyways, right? I mean, that one was just, I don't know what happened, because he does have some speed.
Yeah, so I get a question for you, because you do a lot of drafts, and I think when you do a lot of drafts, you have the ability to get some players at discounts. But at some point, when you're building your team structure, when is a player a discount and when is there a team need, and how do you decide that? When I need a starting pitcher, I need a closer, but this guy's a value. What's the most important thing when you're doing that kind of stuff?
Well, I do I use the ADP where to jump in and out, but I'd say the longer I play, I'm more starting to take my players if I really want them. A year or two ago, I wouldn't jump a guy around it too, but it seems like everybody's doing that. So I'll take my guys whenever I want, and a lot of times I do like the guys that fall a little bit, but we're too early for that. That's going to happen a little bit later when you can get some nice deals. Right now, it's there's not many guys falling. No one's falling around it too right now.
Yeah. So Scuba team went with Devin Williams, Ryan Wu with David Bednar, and team 4 with Peralta as his ace takes Garcia. More speed, gives away a little power, but he figures he's probably all right in that position, trying to get that category. And then team 3 with 5 consecutive hitters takes Jesus Luzardo as his ace. Is Luzardo worthy of an ace? Will he get better? Is he injury risk? What do you think of him?
I like Luzardo. I mean, great year, lots of Ks. He's had some injury problems. I mean, I would like Luzardo as my 2 or 3, not my ace, but obviously he's got an incredible offense. So he's probably going to start banging. He'll probably take another 3 or 4 pitches right after Luzardo just to make up, because he's got such a start in offense. Witt, Lindor. He's got some speed there. Kurtz, power, Rooker. 2 30 homer guys, if not more. Hopper's been a little disappointing the last few years. He should be getting more home runs, but I guess he slid a little bit, right, Sean? I mean, 5th round. I've seen him go earlier than that.
Yeah, I'm off of Harper. Is like he's him and Trout being those Hall of Fame players. I mean, Trout had a great start to his career, but can't be trusted. But Harper, he just hasn't had that monster 5 category season and just done it. Misses time, and he's a good player. And where he's going in the 5th round, and that's much more attractive than he was a 1st or 2nd round player. But he just lost the luster for me a little bit.
I know. What is he, like 25-80 the last couple of years in a row? I mean,
yeah, he missed some time when he
I know that, but still though, the numbers are what they say they are. He's just I mean, I guess you got to hope he stays healthy and he can give and he's mad too. I guess some guys have been messing with him. He wants to have a big year this year, but I don't have any shares. He would have to fall for me to get him too.
Yeah, I think Duran, where he falls, I didn't like him. Him and Trey Turner were close last year, and I was a Turner guy, and Turner missed some time. But Duran, I think that he's really goes in a favorable position this year. I think team two did well there to get him. He could steal bases. He got a lot of doubles, a lot of triples. He can hit some home runs, score runs. Average is okay, and getting better and stuff like that. You paired him with Betts in a bounce back season. Just slid in Hunter Goodwin, which is a catcher that has a chance to hit the middle of the lineup, get some at bats at DH. So I think he did a pretty good job. He got 3 aces, came back and got a little bit of power and built it up. He doesn't have the speed where he needs to do, so he's going to have to work there, and then we'll see how he does the closer. And then team one, Augusta Ramirez, he kind of like really is attractive in a 12-teamer as that 6-7 piece to the puzzle, because he kind of fits. In a 15-teamer, he's a little harder to fit in because you're trying to get that, that front of the pitching staff right. You're trying to get the balance of your core hitters. But when he's in a 12-teamer, I think he makes a lot of sense. Even though he went 6th round, he was really, the guy was on the turn, so he would have got the 7th. But I like that a lot. And then Bellinger comes back and a nice balanced player with that with him. But still, he went with offense, and he's going to have to kind of, he's just skipping the aces. And is there,
I love Bellinger. I mean, what's wrong with 3,000 and a good batting average? It surprises me how late he goes, and I really like Duran too, where he's going. Duran and Bellinger are 2 guys I'm very interested in. I've got 5 shares of Belly and 3 of Duran. I should have more, but Duran's been moving up. He's had a real good spring, so he's kind of moved up around. So, but those are 2 guys I would be, I get a lot of. So, I mean, Sean, what about Bellinger? 3,000, and didn't he score runs too? And he steals bases.
Yeah, and I don't think he is. He really. I mean, he could pop and be even better. I was on Bellinger in 2019 when he popped. He was a guy that I really like. He did it, but unfortunately, when you catch a guy like that, you probably ride him down the next couple of years to come back. And he struggled for a couple of years with Dodgers. Did okay the next couple of seasons, the last couple of seasons, but he did miss some times a couple of years ago with the Cubs, I believe. So I'm going to switch off before you talk. Switch. Yeah, you can talk about the. You can talk about the Blairs. I'll look at the.
Yeah, well, Bellinger too. Now it's his 2nd season in New York, so he's got his feet wet. I think he's in a great spot, a great lineup, good part of the lineup. It just amazes me sometimes to look up and there's Bellinger in round. I got him in round 7 in a 15-teamer, like 7-10 of it. I mean, he was 25 picks after his ADP, and obviously that one was just a fluke, but I just think he's being one of the guys that's getting disrespected quite a bit. I don't know what people are missing. He even stole 14 bases, like 272 batting average, and I think it was 30-98, and I think he had 90-something runs too. I'm not positive on that one, but I mean, not much not to like there.
Yeah, I'll see if I get sniped here. I just looked at it quick, what I would technically do. Obviously, all right, so that worked out pretty good for me coming into the turn. I had a couple players I want. So sitting in the top of the queue, Joe Ryan, nicked up Hader, still hasn't thrown. You got Estevez, Yuri Perez, Iglesias, Nick Pivetta, Helsley, McLean, Snell, Burns at pitcher. And I just think that I'm going to go for the upside and take Yuri Perez, big guy. I'm not sure he's going to get to the innings, but I think he's going to be pretty good on the mound. I think the other positions I don't really have to worry about right now. And I think he's basically out of those pitchers, he was the one that's the most attractive to me, so I'll take him there.
Yeah, I like him and Joe Ryan there. Wasn't Ryan had a little problem earlier in the spring, but
I don't know how close you follow Ryan, but like in the second half, like in like the last 4 or 5 years, he's been like, a lot worse pitcher. He's really struggled in most of those years. So, and then he's got a little nicked up problem, but I do think, he checks a lot of boxes for me. Yeah. But he's not a player that he's got back inflammation is what he's battling right now, but he's not a guy I want to fight for. I think that he pitches up in the strike zone. He doesn't throw a big fastball, but he gets a lot of fly balls. But, if he struggles a little bit, some of those fly balls are going to be home runs, and that can, maybe he wears down or whatever, but I think he has a potential to be a lot better, and he has to put it together for a whole season. But I'm just not in the camp where I'm going to, if he fell a little bit later and
And
Yeah.
he's like, already back problems. So, that's enough to knock him back a little bit. I don't have any shares of him either. So in 15 leagues. So there's other people I like more.
Yeah, so that was I would have on that turn I had queued up. Yuri Perez was clear cut, but I would have taken Perdomo there, just like the way he had the
Oh,
growth.
Perdomo just went. Yeah. Another guy, I mean, his numbers I mean, he was the free agent pickup of the year. With 20 homers, 27 steals, almost 100, good average. I mean, but can he do it again? But he doesn't even have to do it again. If he gives you 75% of that, you would take it,
Yes. So, this one, the drop off for me is a lot for like a lot of positions. I don't love them right now. I mean, Seager could bounce back, have a lot of power. I'm not a Bichette guy. Third base, Suarez, a bunch of home runs. Bregman steady. But I don't see like, anybody that stands out at any of positions other than. So I'm gonna take a chance. I've drafted in minor league, and this is a little probably early for a 12-teamer, but I'm gonna take O'Neal Cruz because he could be pop in home runs. He's a big guy. He's been trying to work against lefties in the offseason, and I've been off O'Neal Cruz for 2 consecutive years. Didn't think he was overpriced when he was going early, but he had 38 steals. Don't need that much out of him. I would prefer him to be like a 30 home run guy and steal 20 something bases, and maybe getting that batting average around 250. But he's one of those guys that has a high contact batting average when he's on. He potentially could strike out a bunch of times and still hit, 240, 250. So I'm going to gamble that he's going to be better. He does give me a nice balanced skill set. Perdomo would have been a lot safer for the batting average thing for me, and be a top of the order guy. But so that's where I'm at. And you're at the mercy of who they leave you on the player pool and how you want to build your teams. And I do like that the outfield position tends to be weaker later on for me. And I do have 3 good outfielders, for the team builds.
Well, you're going to get the speed for sure, 38 steals, and that could even be more. And he does barrel the ball, great. If he gets that ball up in the air, he could be a 30 home run hitter. So he's definitely an upside pick there. I mean, if things go well, that's going to be a great pick. You just got to hope he can have a batting average, I mean, you want to be. I mean, with his speed, he should be hitting 250 or more, even 240 or more. You would take it. But that's just the one concern about. I had him last year. I took him in the second round, and the batting average was tough. Tough to take. So, but he's having a good spring. So that's good.
Yeah. So Joe Ryan went. Pavetta went for the next 2 starting pitchers. I think Perez for me is the better of the 3. I know Pavetta's been pretty good. At some point, I just think that he's going to back up a little bit. Nolan McLean went next. Had a really good season for the Mets. Doesn't have a lot of innings under his belt in his career. I think he was a reliever in college. Pitched 160 last year. So I'm just worried that he pitched a lot of innings last year, and does that affect him this year? And does his command back up? But I think he is a pretty talented arm. And I do think that, like in a 15-teamer, he was sliding maybe end of the 8th round. If he made it to the 9th round, I'm definitely more interested in him than when he was going like in the 7th round, and like the Burnses and the other good pitchers were going 2 or 3 rounds later. So I think if he gets close to that, I'm more attracted to Palencia. Is he going to be the closer for sure for the Cubs? Is he going to be able to handle the job? Is he worth it? You got Iglesias just went, with the other guy behind him, Suarez, that potentially be in a split. So we're in the 8th round, and we're potentially taking picks that we potentially could lose a little bit of job. Ryan Helsley went a little earlier. Bichette, steady player. I don't know. I lost the luster for Bichette too. I do like Seager, but this is an interesting round because there's not a lot of players that fall in my range. What do you think of from Seager on? Are there players that you're interested, or would you skip and go in some other lanes and maybe go in the outfield or some other positions?
Well, I was talking with the famous Ab Terra last night. Ab, he's in the top, I don't know, 25, 30 all-time money winners. He's won ultimates, main events. He's won everything. He's a great player. He knows pitching. I really respect him. And he loves Nolan McLean. And the way he was talking about in a 15-teamer, like, 5th round. So my ears perked up just talking to him we talked for quite a bit. But, boy, his Nolan McLean stuff, got me thinking there. So, He is definitely on my radar. I had him twice, but now I can move him up a little bit. I really trust Mr. Deterra. Bichette, if he slides a little bit, that's not too bad. Hesley, I like Hesley. He's going to get you to strike. That's what they're saying. I think he's going to bounce back. Nick Pivetta, I think, is pretty safe. Palencia is that closer now that's really moving up, Sean. He's passing a lot of the guys. He's starting to go before some of the guys in the ADP. And what Iglesias, I like Iglesias, but you know the situation there. You got a guy they paid more money to, Suarez, who might be just as good. So I took Iglesias last draft just because he fell a little bit and I needed a closer. So, and I couldn't get Suarez, but that's some news on some of those guys.
Yeah. So the Chase Burns goes to team 1. Really, really attractive arm. I expect him to move up a little bit in drafts. Goes to the DeGrom team. He's a guy that, potentially we were getting him in the 9th round about a month ago in 15-teamers, and now he's 8th round. And I think you had a draft last week where he got drafted in the 5th round. But I'm going to go back to the Deterra thing for a second here. So Jamestown is that the breeding ground for, all-star fantasy players? I mean, technically, are you the 3rd best player behind David DiDonato, Deterra, and then you, or are you number 1?
I might be 3rd, but with those guys, I mean, one of them in the Hall of Fame, so I can't go past him. And David Deterra is a hell of a player. He's an older gentleman too. I have to get an update. He's like 76 now, but just the way he does things, he's old school. Doesn't do any draft masters, no onlines. He just shows up and he's doing supers and ultimates and an occasional main event, and he does good every year. So, and he's really good on when he likes a guy. That's one of them. I'll give you another one too for later if you're looking for a sleeper. Tommy Edmond, going in the 20th round. Ab's going to have him on every team, so obviously he's moving him up too. So it was fun talking to Ab yesterday. But he loves McLean. Just remember that we'll play this next year when he wins the Cy Young Award, and we can talk about the guru Ab Deterra.
Yeah, he's the next. Who's the guy that was the Mets had all those pitchers? Harvey. He looked like he was going to be a beast, and
I remember that.
Syndergaard is going to be great, and then he gets hurt. Yep. And the Mets look like they're going to have these dynamite pitching staffs, and they end up getting backing up and having injuries and never kind of gelling for a long time. They've had flashes and were talented, but at least David.
How hard's McLean throw, Sean? He's not really hard, right? Isn't he? He's got like 4 good pitches. He doesn't throw over 95, does he? Or
yeah, I think he throws 95 at least.
Right around in that range. I mean, he's not like Burns and those guys going 99 and 100.
Yeah. I guess 98's the new 95. The old 95.
No, 98 is now 95. So 95 is like 92, 93.
Yeah. So Suzuki goes to team 1. Had a really, really great start to last season. Hits the middle of the lineup. Could potentially add a few more steals. Pretty balanced player. I think team 1's kind of rounding the form there. There was 2 pretty good picks there. Salvador Perez doubling the catcher position. Perez, he does as good as he is. He is a pretty clutch hitter. He does give back some of his gains and runs, because he's slow and his batting average isn't what it was. Michael Harris, 2020 guy last year, really struggled out of the gate. Thought he would be a guy that potentially hit 300. Maybe with Profar out of there, he gets a chance to maybe bounce up in the lineup. Doesn't take enough walks to hit second or something like that, but at least he moves up 1 notch. And he potentially, he's a young guy that could get better. Suarez, we know he's got a big power hitter going to a good park. Sheehan, another good pick by a guy that everybody likes. The debate. I wrote this week there. Sheehan, Glasnow. Who are you going to take? Sheehan or Glasnow? Who you taking?
I would take Sheehan, because Glasnow, just his injury history. I mean, how many times has he gone over 140 innings? And I think Sheen's an up-and-coming young pitcher. Had a SWAC last year of over 16, which is great. So I would go with the young upside guy. Then, I mean, Glasnow's got great stuff, throws hard, but can you trust him? So I would just play it safety. I wouldn't want to. I would take Sheen over Glasnow. Is Glasnow off the board yet, or is he still there?
No, he's still there.
Okay, yeah, I'd go Sheen.
Yeah, he'll most likely make it to me. I mean, the pitchers there are kind of, I'm looking at who is there. I don't know if I'm in that situation where I did all right in the starting pitch, and maybe I could take that second closer, get one out of the way, and see
Yeah.
what happens here. But see what the next couple picks. If Strider made it back, I took him a lot of early drafts. He made it. I would probably take a chance on him where it's an overall championship and stuff like that. Kind of glad he went. Glasnow's there. I don't know if I'm going to take him there. Think I'm there. It's an interesting before I pick here. When I did the projections, I'm not, I don't have the Kershaw anywhere, and his profile looks really really good as far as potential, but he rated really really good in my projections at second base. And he's another speed guy, not a big power guy. Like maybe you get 15, 16 home runs. Stories there. Did well last year. Second half was great. But pitchers, get Josh Hader, Estevez, Blake Snell injured, Hoffman. Hoffman seems like he's at least a steady closer that's a value. You got Pagan. He did it last year. Will he keep it again? Or I could push it down. But you know what? I'm going to go off the board and just take the closer and get it out of the way because I'm not really a thing. And I'm going to take Hoffman. What do you think about that?
If I was going to take a closer there, I would go Hoff. I took Hoffman the other night with Iglesias. I went back to back. I think it was 8th, 9th round, so probably you might even got him a little later. So yeah, I think Hoffman is the safest there. Eventually, Hader might be a pick if he comes around that. Well, you're going to have your two now, but
Yeah,
he'd be back within a month.
yeah. The trick is though when I'm looking at it as and I could. There's other closers I could potentially get, but in a 12-team, I could just get it out of the way. I mean, Hoffman ERA was high, but he got enough saves, and his resume is not like long where he's guaranteed to have this for a long time. But he strikes out guys, has talent. We'll see what happens. I mean, what's the other alternative? Skip 2 more rounds and see who they leave me, or take somebody else I really don't like there.
Oh, I hear you there. I mean, you can't wait 24 picks and hoping you get a value pick. So no, like I said, I took Hoffman the other night even earlier. So I like that one. I do like the guy in your queue right now too a lot. I think he's going to have a big issue, and I think he might hit over 20 home runs too. I think there's a little pop in that bat. He hit a home run yesterday. It was a bomb. So and he's a ball player. I don't have much. I think I got one share of him, but he's definitely going to start being on my radar. So I like seeing you put him in your queue. I mean, I don't know if it's something else you need, but I do like I like him.
I think I'd like to have a share of him that I don't have him. When I'm looking at the starting pitching, if I want to go there, Glasnow is worth the risk. The Milwaukee Mizorowski is attractive arm, but I mean Snell no, Gossman steady, Woodruff hurt, like the Yankee pitcher Schitler, but he might make it back. I don't know, or there's another young pitcher that might get back, so it's not really a need to force that. And then the outfield position is not really. Stower's a little banged up. Odell hits home run, but I mean, it's other. I have 3 of them already. Third base, Bregman just steady. Marte could be pretty good, but there's somebody else. I'm okay with third base going back. Doubling at first base doesn't jump out for me. Shortstop, Story, yeah, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna roll the dice and take him. Why not?
Here
Right?
he is. I didn't want to say his name. That's why I said the Q, just in case somebody was listening.
They can see the board anyways. They can read it.
I thought I was doing good.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like I said, when I did the projections, I didn't purposely put him that high, but he rated really well, a lot of speed, and so now I think that I got 4 guys that can run with Julio Rodriguez, Carroll, Cruz, and Kershaw. Kershaw, obviously, the thing that he has to prove the most is to stay on the field and be healthy. So, coming back the next round when I'm looking at it, most likely I'm gonna have to try to get in there, weasel in one of those catchers, that at the, and not miss the whole break point and get behind the whole thing, or I could potentially double there. We'll see how it goes, or take see what there is. I think every other round here, I think I have to be thinking of some sort of pitcher, just in case. Even though I have 5 after the first 10 rounds, or I had 5 after the first 9 rounds, but I know that there's enough players I like at the back end of the inventory At other positions, I think I'll be okay. Third base, I like some people back. I'll have to get somebody in the middle. Second base is, other people that and I don't even have to rely on, a base stealer in the middle now. Now I can take some guys with some power. So interesting. Jacob Mizorowski, you had him last year. Is he going to be better than Strider? Is he going to be better than Sheehan? Is he going to be better than Burns? What do you think?
You know what? I mean, he throws 100, but he was a little wild. I mean, big time stuff. I would take him over. Well, I don't know. That's close. I kind of like all three of them. Mizorowski, Sheehan, and Strider. So I'm not sure how I would put them in order. I'd be happy with the guy got him. I know that. So, but yeah, I do like Jacob Mizorowski if he can keep his control down. Big skinny kid though, I mean, God, he almost broke his leg falling off the mound in one game. He's kind of like a big giraffe, but he he throws 100. There's another one, Sean, too. I like a lot. Zach Wheeler. I think he could be back and within a month and be Zach Wheeler and be a top 5 pitcher. I've noticed he's been moving up, so I might take in Wheeler over all three of them. So I'm definitely high on Zach Wheeler because you could really, if Zach Wheeler's back within a month, that's a hell of a pick in the 10th round.
Yeah, I mean, Wheeler, so I just don't like that injury in general, bouncing back. Even King coming up behind him, a little bit of injury risk. Story in the middle. Before I go to pass that Story, well, like I had to talk to another friend of mine on high stakes. He really thinks Robert is going to have a really, really good season playing for the Mets or Luis Robert or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I think that's pretty fair though, and but nice balanced player. I mean, he's got more speed there. He's making up a little bit of ground. He's got three guys that can run. A little bit of batting average. Story's not a lock. And Ramirez, as good as he is, he's tends to be like 280 is his ceiling these days, just because he hits a lot of fly balls. Contreras could hit for higher average. He just hits a lot of ground balls. So, Yelich, until he qualifies at outfield, he's kind of a blocker there, but I think that he's pretty fair value. I think he's a better value in the 15-teamer because I think he goes past, pick 150, and we're at 120. He drafted him at 117. Yelich, too early? Like him? More in the 15, or does he go later?
I've got Yelich, I think, once or twice, but I got him it's the end of the 11th round in a 15-teamer. So he might, in a 12-teamer 10, I think he might be 5 or 10 picks early. But, it's just a utility thing. I don't like to give up my utility. And now Yelich does have a chance. I mean, he played 19 games in the outfield. Is there any way, if he could be an outfield in the first couple of months, I'd like to pick even more. But if he's not going to play outfield, I just, I hate giving up that utility because, I like to be able to move things around. But,
he needs
he knocked in 100 runs. He's a good hitter. His speed was down, so I think that's going to go back up. And the power was up. He kind of like switched roles. The power got bigger and the speed came down. So maybe he'll even it out, 2020, 22, 22.
Yeah, I mean, he's got four guys that can run on that team, and the batting average should be okay, even with Riley on the team with Soto and Yelich. And I guess Suarez drag. I mean, he's got it's kind of weird. He's got some pulling, helping, and some hurting, but the speed.
Yeah, the average might be a little low. I mean, you got Suarez and Riley and
there are some could hit for average, so it's an interesting team build on that. Yeah. But I mean, he's also leaving himself open with he has to get out in saves. He's got two pitchers that are pretty good. One of them young, but he's got he's going to be behind the field, and what are they going to make up for him in the next few rounds at the other positions?
Yeah, so, he's got to go yellow. He needs to go about 4 yellows in a row.
And then we get two closers that go after him. Fairbanks goes to Miami, never pitches a ton of innings. I think that he's got two closers, got a little bit of wrist there. Obviously decent arms for sure. Jensen goes to team 2 as his first closer. Lodolo, good pitcher. Seems like he gets hurt, misses time. Just really hasn't put it together as far as being a stud. Another Cincinnati arm. but I think that team is trying to piecemeal his pitching staff together, where he got the front of his hitters, and I think he's done a pretty good job of getting Pepio from Tampa Bay there. So I think that's, he's got one closer, DeGrom, Burns, Lodolo, Pepio. Yeah, I mean, it's decent,
I like both pitches there, Sean. I like Lodolo a lot. He's been moving up. He only had a 5% walk rate, which I didn't realize he was that good. Pepio too, like him. So I think he did a nice bang bang right there to go with Burns, DeGrom, and he's got the best closer in the game. So he's pretty balanced. Might have to start, he's pretty balanced, so he can almost go anywhere next time. Maybe some more. How about his speed though? Turner and really not much. So yeah, he needs a little speed and to balance it out a little more, and maybe some more power too. But
yeah, Bregman, another steady guy. That's just for the Red Sox. Last year he was pretty good, missed some time, and then he got this massive deal. But all good players on that team. Like I said, he gave up a little bit of runs with Perez, but I think that the speed is a factor for this team, though. He's got Betts. Duran will get some. I mean, Springer ran last year, but I mean, I don't know. So yeah, he's going to need some rabbits later on.
Yep.
But the foundation of the power should be all right. Runs should be good. Batting average should be good. Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting to see how that shakes out. We're getting, like I said, look at Glass now. He made a long ways, huh? He went past me.
Yeah, he's sliding a little bit, so he definitely slid in this one. I'm gonna give my dog a snack. He's yelling at me.
Yeah, I'm gonna see what the pitchers are like. So when it's coming back to me, I've got a long ways to go, and I'm probably gonna. My goal is to probably take a catcher and see what there is for technically for starting pitchers. Showing in the queue is Hader, Estevez, Blake Snell, Gossman, McGill, Trevor McGill, Woodruff, Cam Schittler from the Yankees, Sonny Gray, Gavin Williams, Nolan Eovaldi, Dennis Santana, Sandy Alcantara. Now he's a guy that 2 years ago or 3 years ago, in 2022, I caught him on a good season. Him and Alec Manoa and really did good. I had a lot of teams that cashed. Won a couple of main events. One for me, one under Jim Ferrari. Came in second in the $5,000 auction, and a second in I think it was Super. But like I said, but he was a guy, and I had him last year, and he kind of burnt me. But he pitched good the other day. Could give you innings. I think he kind of makes sense there out of that group, rather than taking somebody that's a little more proven. The other thing is I want to make sure I don't get beat at catcher, and see where we're at. So I haven't done a lot of 12-teamers, but I think that if I take one catcher and starting pitcher, they should swing back for me. I'm okay waiting at first base. I think there is some talent there. Second base, there is players I think that are fillers that are okay. I'm going to have to get another. I have one second base. I don't think I have a shoot. Let me see.
It's still 7 picks away. Oh yeah, no, yeah.
I don't have a shortstop yet, so it's going to be kind of tricky there. So I mean, I guess it's do or die. Like if you want like a Connor Griffin.
Woo! Sean, you ain't that crazy.
No, I don't know if I'm going to take him. I think I'm well on the way to the championship, but I don't want to give away a pick. No,
yeah,
I don't know.
Q's tough,
But if he made it another round, so but realistically, like I was talking, like thinking about a catcher, but realistically, if I take like Basello or Rochman, like what kind of ceiling is that player? So maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I should be taking Griffin because he is a home run, more of a home run swing. In addition, I can get another catcher later and get another player in the reserve round if he gets sent to the minors to help me. So that's
don't forget his speed too. He's going to steal 40, 50 bases in the majors if he plays.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a horrible price. They're saying people are saying he's going to be at 100 when we get to the main events. Right now, what are you, 135 or something? What is it?
131.
Yeah, I mean, that's not, I got him at 141 the other day, so it's time to think about him,
Yeah, I don't have a shortstop. And if I was going to go down the list here and nobody's listened to me, I mean, where would I go? Weatherhoe, take Wilson. I don't know where, the batting average would be there and stuff like that. But We are playing for an overall
I'd
championship.
take Griffin over every one of them guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, you want to tee it up. All right, I'll do it for you. The other pitcher that I was going to take is way down the list, so I'll just take Griffin just to have a piece for
Let's
Eddie.
go.
Should I do it? 12 seconds.
All right, do it.
All right.
You know, this is going to be the big CLQ winner.
Oh yeah, that's what I need. You know,
If that guy plays, Sean, if he gets 500 at bats, it's scary to think what he's going to do even in his rookie season. And the guys are grabbing him.
Are you saying that he's going to beat what A-Rod did early in his career? Is that what you're telling me? He's the new and improved A-Rod?
He could be a new and improved A-Rod who doesn't do steroids. He does it naturally.
Well, did A-Rod do steroids at that age?
No, probably not. So he is going to be like an A-Rod. I mean, the speed's ridiculous, right? 60 steals in the minors. And this kid wants to show everybody he wants to play. And the way Harold Reynolds and everyone, they all think everyone's saying he's got to make the team. I'm pumped right now.
Is that the turning point in my draft? Is letting Eddie Gillis influence?
Yes, it is. I might have just killed you. I mean, that's a big gamble.
So if that guy is the one that puts me over the top, you know, what percentage of my team do I owe you for that?
Oh, my God. I'm taking at least 5%, 10%.
All right. I don't know if you were hearing me when you're doing the dog. Out of all those pitchers sitting in the queue there, you think Sandy Alcantara can do it? Or, you know, the young Cam Schittler guy? You got.
I've always been an Alcantara guy. Great day yesterday. 4 innings, Ks. No, that might have put him over there. Who else do you got there?
The Trey is Savage, but he's picked 155. He might make it back too. So I think that I could, like I said, I could take a catcher too. But if I don't take a catcher here, you might have to take 2 catchers next round.
Oh, you can wait next time for catches. Look at all the guys you can get later. Alvarez, Teal, all those guys.
I know, but you know what I mean. When you're kind of trying to get it.
Saying, if there's something else you need, I wouldn't panic on catcher. I like the Kansas City guy. He'll be there next time. You like Baselli. I would have gone Alcantara. This is turning into an Eddie Gillis draft.
All right, I went Alcantara. I just got the I got the 4th starting pitcher. And Alcantara is more of, you know, a guy that's going to hopefully give you a lot of innings. Hopefully he's a lot better. Throws pretty hard. Never had massive strikeouts. The command is already pretty good. You know, a year removed from an injury, he should be better. And possibly, you know, if he pitches well, he could get traded to a contender at, you know, some point in the season. So, you know, that's an interesting not thought out how I thought this draft would go. But we'll see how the next turn, you know, it goes as far as like the players make it back. But I got a lot of work to do as far as, you know, finishing off the offense. I mean, I have 6 players. I need 8 more players to finish this team. And, you know, yeah, sometimes when a 12 team, you're looking for, 20 home run guys, and I don't need, that much speed. I mean,
you don't need any speed. You got a ton of speed. Every guy runs. Griffin, Keishel, Cruz, your top 2.
If I was going to Jamestown, Stevie Head would give me a ticket for speed.
Oh, you got speed. That's something you don't even have to think about. You don't need any of the little road runners later, you know. I think your speed's fine. So it's going to be pitching and more batting average and power.
All right. So Brandon Woodruff went a little, I had him last year. I thought he would do all right. He did pitch okay. He just took forever. He's banged up, and, they say he'll probably be back, but I don't know. I like Albies in the bounce back. I think he actually gets the biggest bump for me with Profar out. Gets a chance to slide up in the batting order. I think he's going to run a little bit more. They got that first base coach that was with the Mets. I think he's the one that could be the most benefit from that. He's never really stole 25 or 30, but we'll see. Estevez is a nice closer. Or had success last year. I don't think he repeats the saves, but I think he does okay. Willie Adames had a lot of home runs. Yandy Diaz, he hits for average, ground ball type hitter, but he has had the power last couple of years. Lawrence Butler was a top 5 round picker in a 15 team draft last year. He was a little nicked up the last couple of weeks, but I think he'll be okay. Balanced player, strikes out a little too much. Nemo.
He's hurt too, Sean. Butler's hurt.
I know he's got something going on for him, but and Nemo for Texas, he should fit in a pretty good slot in that lineup. So Blake Snell, is deal or no deal? You got Glass now and him. I got those same 2 pitchers in some other draft.
I
But
mean,
you know, you could
11th, 12th round, they're good gambles. Absolutely. I mean, if it doesn't work out, 12th round, you can replace him. No problem with that. I thought Lawrence Butler was definitely early. He's going like, end of 12, 13 and 15 teamers. So, I mean, I think whoever it was, he could have definitely waited another 10 picks. He would have gotten them, but hey, he must really want him. But that's definitely early for Butler. But yeah, Glasnow, I thought he fell a little bit. So, and then Snell too. I mean, if he's back in even 2 months, that could be a great pick. I like Trevor McGill too. There's a guy who could be a top closer if he takes the job and runs with it. So there's a little discount on him and a discount on the other one. Whoever gets the job, one of them gets the job and keeps it. It's going to be a great pick because you're getting these guys who are better, better than the next 10 guys in front of them. Both have great stuff.
So that's when I took Hoffman, I was like, I could cheat down to like a Ryan Walker, but I don't know where he's going to go. And then some of those other players. So I think I did better by going with Hoffman, better team.
Yeah, Hoffman throws hard. He's going to get you the 36. I like Hoffman. Walker kind of had a bad year last year. Swack was 9. I mean, that's striking out nobody. I mean, I know he was great the year before that, but I got a little concerns with him. I don't think you have to worry about Hoffman. There's nobody there.
Santana going to keep that for Pittsburgh? I mean, he doesn't really have the resume, and he got it by default last year. And that guy went back to back with, he's actually took 3 closes in a row: Jansen, McGill, and Santana. So he's trying to get out.
Yeah.
There goes Uribe. So the handcuff goes kind of quick for, those guys always go for like 5 within 5 or 6 picks of each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's been a few drafts. I've seen Uribe going before Miguel, even 2 rounds. And then the last draft, Miguel's back and forth. They keep switching back and forth. But I think Miguel's going to get the first shot. And if he gets it and runs with it, I think Miguel's going to be a real good value this year for Miguel owners. But, we'll see. A bad start or 2, and then Uribe's in there.
Yeah, it really sad. It's 8 out of last pitchers. 1, 2, 3, 4, about half and a half. 4 starters, 4 relievers. Iguanaga gave up a lot of home runs. Gave up home runs in spring training. Andy Pages is a pretty good player last year. Kind of emerged after really struggling. Stowers banged up lit a lot of home runs last year, but he's banged up right now. I'm not sure that. Yeah, I don't know about going after him here. So and this turn is kind of an interesting one.
All those catches are there, Sean. So you did good. They're all. Did any even go?
No. So I'm going to take Vasello just because I just think it like his talent, but Rochman, I don't know. I lost a little bit of left. Or Alvarez going to hit down the lineup. I think Vasello could steal a few bases, had a lot of upside and power, and I'm just gonna get it out of the way and take 2 in a row. You know what I mean? I'll just take Teal or Jansen, and not get beat at the second catcher, but I don't have to fish at the back end of the pool a little bit. I think Teal, my profile for Jansen was better, but Teal I think will hit middle of the lineup, but he has a little more competition for at bats. And I didn't, when I did the Jensen guy, I didn't give him massive at bats because because of the other catcher there on Salvador Perez. So those are 2 hit for really, really high contact batting average and stuff like that. So that's a debate. So this could be like I said, I do like the Jensen guy better, but Teal, I think, what? Let's just go with, we're going to go down. We'll take the Jensen guy.
That's what I would have done. You know that. I didn't want to say anything. I like Teal too. They're very close. They're I think their ADPs are exactly like 181 and 180. They're close, but Jensen's got big power. I saw some stat like how many at bats did he get in the majors? There was I'm not sure how many bats, but whatever it was, he was like in the top 3 from whatever bats he got with in baseball for like barrel rate or something. Like, he's got big time power, and he's off to a good spring.
I just don't like that. I think he's going to hit a little lower in the lineup too and stuff like that.
What do you think he's going to bet?
Well, I mean, you got, I think it's like 7 maybe, but I don't know. I mean, you got Witt, Pascatino, you got Garcia, they signed somebody else. Who the other person they signed?
I would think he's six. Maybe I would think six, but once he starts ripping, they're gonna. Six is fine.
Yeah,
He's
so
really good as a bats.
yeah, I mean that's the Basello is betting on the come in Jensen. I mean, do I get, can I get 35 home runs out of those two? I don't, and
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, so we'll go back and see, but at least, like I said, at least I'm not going to be, if I take one player and I think I could be fighting for the second catcher. I would imagine that the catchers, the other ones that run off the table right now, and I'm okay cheating the second catcher and getting one decent guy in the 15 team this year because I think I can get advantage of different position. But in this particular one, I would just rather get somebody. I don't want to waste spot in the waiver wire. I mean, on the bench and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Chandler Simpson, big stealing guy, but he gives up a lot back in. He has almost zilch for home runs. If he hits one home run, that would be a lot. RBI is going to be really low. It's like one-stop shopping. This guy's got Alvarez and Herrera. Only one of those guys can play out of the gate. So, you don't know how long Herrera takes to qualify catcher. Obviously, it makes sense that he wants to get a second catcher, and he can pick up somebody off the waiver wire. So it's an interesting build. He's got Skeens with Valdez, Mizorowski, and one closer. So he's got a lot of work to do. Not really a big rush for some of these teams to kind of close out their pitching staffs. And then Dylan Cruz, I really think that he could potentially pop this year. I do like all of his last three outfield picks. He's the last 4 rounds. That's pretty good. Mackenzie Gore going to Texas. I think that the strikeouts will be there. Supposed to be a talented arm. Coming into majors, he hasn't really put it together. But he really looked good for about 4 or 5 months last year, and then kind of faded down the stretch. Gore, a guy in your wheelhouse, or is he a player that you don't trust?
Gore, he's someone, I'm not looking for. I don't have him yet. So in 15 drafts, if he slipped a little bit, he could end up on my team. Actually, I think he got destroyed today or yesterday. He gave 6 earned runs. He had a bad, so that's not going to help him right now. But I don't think I'm going to have him. But you're going to a new team. I mean, it is better. It's a better park for him. But I'm not looking for him. Here goes the catcher, Sean. It was perfect time. You did that nicely. You got the two I like there, and then another 4 just went right. Another 3 or 4 just went after the 2 you took, right? Rushman, Moreno, Kirk, good ones too. Kirk's usually ADP's higher than everybody there, but I'd rather have Basello and Jensen over Kirk. And usually Kirk goes 2 rounds before him, so I guess Kirk slid in this draft.
They got team 1 is probably going to take Teal for sure, based on where he's going. And the team 2 already has 2 catchers.
Right,
so.
He's in good shape. Team 3 could. Oh, he took Kirk, so yeah, he should get him then. Because how many of the good ones are left? That I think is he the last one?
I mean, Alvarez is still there.
Yeah, that's another one. So that's 2. Then there's 2 left, right?
And then the real Mudo, you don't know Stevenson.
No, I'm not including them. After Alvarez and Teal, then it's another.
I guess O'Hoppe could hit some home runs and bounce back. I had him last year; he killed me, so I'm kind of off him, But
who's that?
Logan O'Hoppe.
Yeah, I know. You were big on him last year. I had a little bit of him, and he was a disappointment. He could bounce back though. He's got power, so. I mean, where he's going, if you don't get one of the ones that you got, you could get him around it too. And, he should be able to hit 20 homers.
Yeah. I mean, his approach was better, coming into last year, but his approach really backed up. He really just didn't do anything with guys on base. And, he really was, kind of a waste at catcher for like 2.5 months last year.
I ended up benching him, Sean.
Yeah. I mean, you could cut him actually. I mean, but in the 15 team is.
I might have cut him. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but So Ward, guy team 1 takes Ward, a little more power.
Yeah, 100 RBIs.
Yeah, so I mean, this guy, that's a pretty good offense there. Ohtani, Turner, Olsen, Ramirez give you some steal. Bellinger steal. Suzuki, nice solid middle lineup. Another Cub, has been nice steady bat. Ward, steady player. Baltimore, I think they moved the fences in. Was it? No, where they moved it in? Kansas City moved it in a little bit.
Yeah, Kansas City got moved in.
Ward was the year before. Wow, he took him over Teal, huh? That's kind of interesting.
Sean, it might be time for your boy or
Do
our boy.
I got a boy?
Yeah, you know who he is. Well, I won't mention him because I'm not gonna say anything till I think you'll know when you get to your pick.
Oh, oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's it.
Outfield.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll help you out just so you don't.
Yeah,
you know.
that's the one. Because I know you took him in a 15 or like in round 12, so you're definitely, he'd be gone now if you were picking anywhere here. From your last draft. I know you.
Yeah, I would have thrown him. I wasn't looking at the queue yet, but yeah, he makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Gives me a fourth outfield with power, potential breakout player.
Yep.
McLean really having a good spring, kind of moved up, kind of
Yeah.
an interesting player there.
I like that one too.
Yeah, so
I got him the other night in my online championship in 17 too. So that was really nice. Another 24 picks from there. He slid a little bit.
I think I know. What do I got?
And the beat Jeff Erickson one. There goes Teal.
Did you beat Jeff Erickson in the other draft?
I don't know. I know I went against him in football. I know we both did well. I can't remember who won what.
I do like the Jackson Holiday McLean. I think Holiday would be rather better. His swing path isn't where it needs to be, but he was a 2020 guy last year or something like that. But he could pop this year. Kind of, that's Team 2's done a nice job there.
Getting value on him.
Yeah. Brendan Doyle a little banged up. We figured he was bad last year. He would bounce back this year. Ooh, they're putting the pressure on me. Ian
Happ safe. You know what you're getting there. You're going to get the at bats. I like Ian Happ. He's a safe guy, right about there.
We'll see it. We'll see if the team 11 gets me again, right?
I know it.
He's looking at the cue where this is broadcast. Behind the scenes, he knows what we're going to do.
All right.
We'll see. All right, so I probably should be looking
when we were talking about the fences, that's when the light bulb went off in my head. They're coming in with this monster. Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's see here. Come on. So you get 25 cents. He's going to eat it.
He's going to ruin the whole night if he takes them.
Hey, the best thing is you draft these players, you think you're going to win the league, but unfortunately they have to do stuff. Oh, look at.
Who did he take?
He took Stephen Kwan.
Oh, okay. That's just a good pick. I like it, but not the guy we were talking about. Nice, safe pick, some speed. Kwan's another like an Ian Happ, type guy.
Yeah.
Got it, Sean.
Well, I'm going to take Gaglione. Yeah, got him in a couple of the drafts. Potential to break out, big monster. Kind of fit after taking those base dealers. Give me a fourth outfield with power. Still need a third baseman and a corner, but there's third baseman out there that I think I can deal with. Hit 20 home runs. The other thing would go back to I do like somebody over here. That's kind of an interesting fill, but outfield I don't need to go to outfield right now. And the other one is pitcher. Robbie Ray's a pretty solid player, with strikeouts.
Yeah.
And his ADP seemed like he slid a little bit.
He had a great outing yesterday. You like Beebe? He's there. Edward Cabrera, Suarez.
I think Bibey's the one. Tanner Bibey is the guy that's going to bounce back. He burnt me in the league last year.
I know.
But he's kind of I haven't taken him, but I think that's a decent pick there.
Yeah.
I really want somebody at a different position, but he might make it back to me. So, that's the whole thing is sometimes you want to finesse guys and sometimes you want to fight for them. And I think in the 12-teamer, the draft's a little more wild card. But I think I can wait. But even at the other, I guess I'm kind of dismissing the corner positions, with third base and whatever. But I think I'll be all right there.
Yeah, it's a 12-teamer. You can get away with it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess Robbie Ray strikeouts, whip wrist. I mean, Bibey 2 years ago was pretty damn good.
I mean, he's off to a great start. They're talking about him. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think Bobby's a.
Uh,
Who did you take?
he took a Ranger
Oh, I
Suarez.
thought that was you.
No, so yeah, I mean, I like Kate Horton too, but he might make it back. But you know what? I'm gonna go. I've been thinking about him. I haven't drafted him. Different pitching staff. Guy that had some innings. Hopefully he doesn't back up. Throws a lot of sliders, I believe. So,
I like.
but yeah, so we'll see what happens there.
Not on
Rangers.
Ray. I'm not big on the Ray. I like Tanner Bybee way more. And there's a few other guys that would have taken over Ray too. So I don't want to say anything in case you really like them, but kind of happy
No,
you missed that one.
it's just the strikeouts, and he does have the whip risk, and the
Yeah.
ballpark's okay. But you know, a guy that could potentially be like a closer to 3 ERA Bybee could, especially when he looked like he was going to be better, and some of his starts were decent, but he just never got in rhythm. So
Didn't he have a good second half?
no, I don't think he really kind of gelled at all. I'd have to look at what I wrote about him, but he just never felt like he was good. I don't know if I told you, at the AL auction last year, I had Hunter Brown as my breakout pitcher of the year, and then I bid $25 in the AL auction. Somebody said 26, and Bybee was still on the board, and I had him like rated not that far away, and so I didn't fight for Brown, and I
Yeah,
said
I remember that
Bybee.
Hunter Brown story.
Yeah, so the difference between Hunter Brown and Bybee was miles, So and that's usually something that but I guess I thought that they were both like a more of a low $20 pitcher in an AL auction last year, and they end up going a lot higher. Wilson Contreras pretty good, figure that he waited on first baseman, and I'm waiting for a first baseman, third baseman, corner type of that, but that's a pretty good player right there, right? If that player made it back to me 17, I'd be pretty happy.
I like
Yeah.
Wilson Contreras this year a lot too, Sean. I think hitting clean up in that Red Sox lineup. He stays healthy. You might see a 30-100 there. So I've been trying to get as much as him. How much of him do I have? And people know it. He's been moving up too in the draft. So, and I hate when I got to compare the 12s and 15s. Let me see. What is he? 16th round in the 12. So what would that mean in 15? He's been going like 11th round in 15. So I guess that's about right?
Yeah. So we come back with Spencer Turkelson, Chris Bubeck, who pitched pretty good last year. Looked like he was getting his command and strikeout stuff in order. Really kind of struggled at the end of the year. I think he's gonna, I don't think he lasts for the whole year. I think he has a little bit of risk. Who's it? Imani? I don't know how to pronounce that guy. I don't want to butcher it. Shane McClanahan actually is a pretty good pick. I think he's going to be okay, especially where he goes. He's worth a flyer. I guess that's pretty good for that team. He went with Jackson Uribe, and that's his third pitcher, and he really needs that guy to be an ace. So I mean, if you were talking, I take Tanner Bybee, and we're talking, Ray. McClanahan is the guy who was probably with a higher ceiling, but he might not be the safest.
Definitely not. 2 Tommy John surgeries. Definitely that's a big risk reward pick right there.
Yeah, we just have to. Who's that guy on Twitter? We have to ask it to get permission to draft somebody like that.
Dr. Dave.
That's who. Yeah. If he doesn't,
Dave would say no to McClanahan.
Allowed to take. Yeah. So Alec Burleson's a nice steady player. Hasn't really got to where you hang. Doesn't strike out a lot. Thought he would hit more power last year. Just didn't get there.
2 positions too. He plays first base also.
Yeah. But yeah, what was the? So I was getting back to the Houston pitcher. What is it? Tatsuya Amai.
Which guy?
The pitcher, teammate for the Houston pitcher from Japan. I just don't know.
A
lot of walks for him. I don't know if I'm gonna, he's gonna fall into my lane that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I don't know enough about him. I have drafted him. I think I got him online at 15-2. So that's about where he went here, 15-8. But we'll see. He's coming over, so That's about where he goes. He didn't drop. I think that's about where he goes in 12s, right around here, late 14, somewhere in the 15.
Sal Stewart getting a lot of love. He's
Yeah, he's moving up a lot too. He's right there with the Torkelson and Wilson Contreras. What usually Torkelson's usually third out of them. They're close though, but I think it's Contreras, Stewart, Torkelson, but they're all like within a round of each other.
Okamoto, his over under in that when I was looking at it was 22.5 at the sports book. The other guy from Japan, the big strikeout guy,
Homie there. Yep.
Yeah, he was 27.5, which was surprised me that he was that high. That's pretty a lot of confidence in him hitting home runs. But he is going to strike out and he will get his chances. But he's a pretty strong guy. Takes walks. So, but they go kind of close together. I think their ADP's in the 15 teams around 219 or so, which, obviously he got drafted 192, so that's a lot earlier.
Yeah, they are close. Murakami, Okamoto, and Chad Durbin, all three third basemen, every draft it's a little bit different. But Okamoto, I think, starting to pass them. He's been moving up the boards recently.
Yeah.
The drafts I've been doing.
Yeah, so just Musgrove, looking to bounce back off an injury, pitcher for San Diego, pretty good command pitcher. We'll see what happens with him, but a nice arm, when healthy, should, if he does what he's supposed to, should help that team. And he just added more power. It's just it's going to be tough to beat that team in offense. I don't know about the speed. He's got Bellinger, Turner, Otani won't get as much as before. Swanson doesn't get some. Ward doesn't run, so he's going to be a little bit, need some work at speed. But I think this year there'll be a lot of speed outs off the waiver wire and stuff like that. So I think that teams will be able to execute that.
Yeah.
I'm neutral on Bodger. He had a good year last year. I'm not sure that he's that great of a picker. Ray lasted a long time there, huh?
Yeah, I think he did we'll see, but he might have seen his best days. I don't know. How old is Robbie Ray? He's got to be what, 34, 5?
Yeah, I think he's 35. Yeah.
Yeah, he's up there a little bit. I'd rather have the young guy that coming off a disappointing year that big things from.
You think Jack Wilson can push his power higher, stay healthy for the whole season, add some steals? The batting average and runs are going to be okay, and he looked like he was a decent clutch hitter when he was at the plate. So what do you think? Where do you think he could go this year?
It's surprising he doesn't run 5 steals. I think he'll probably double that. You're going to get the runs, batting average. I like him. I think I got a share of him. Not really looking for him. There's other shortstops. By the time he comes up, I usually have one. Or even 2. But I don't think he'll hurt you. And hope maybe the power and the speed go up a little bit, and he'll even be better.
Yeah.
I like this guy, the Lyle guy. I think he's like one of the fastest guys in baseball, over 90% tile and speed. And he got caught a few times last year. I think he got caught 8 times. So I know people don't like that, but he's got the speed. I mean, he hit 300 in a short sample, but he's a guy I would take a shot on if I needed an outfielder.
That's pretty good prick. Look at that. He sniped the Hader guy by 1 pick, but I guess I lose track of Abreu and not thinking what I was doing. But that's if Hader does have a problem, but would the guy, the Hader team have taken him on the next turn if he had?
Oh, you're right. I just saw that. Oh yeah, because you know what? That's not horrible. You got Hader. If I had Hader there, I think maybe I would have done that. So that stings. Or he could even get in front of that guy in the way back. Do you like Jack Flaherty, Sean?
Not. I mean, he doesn't excite me anymore. It's over.
Yeah.
He was good at best. I think in 2019, his stats look okay. Walk rate and all that stuff last year, but he's been frustrating. I thought he would have had a better major league career. He
had a 67% strand rate, so that's why his ERA was high. Guys leaving on base, they were all getting knocked in, so that's pretty low. The lowest was Sean Mania. He had one of like 59%. I have never seen one that low. That poor guy couldn't catch a break. I like him too. He'll be better this year too.
I was gonna take Robert Suarez there.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
got
good value there. I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna take a pitcher here, but I'm gonna take a young player ahead of his ADP, I believe. First base, Christian Walker steady. I'm gonna wait for him. 208. Second base.
Who's at second base?
Third base. Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm just gonna take. He's having a good spring. The reports are pretty good. He can steal some bases, hit some home runs. I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really. I'm tying up my middle there, but I mean, it's just with upside, and we'll see what happens. And I'm going to come out of this turn. I would have taken Suarez and him, I think, on that turn.
Yeah.
And just Suarez, figure if he's in a split role, it's kind of good to have him on your bench and maybe get a third guy that's decent.
Yeah.
Hopefully, closers hang up there. But I mean, I will be a 12-teamer. I'll be able to find something else on the waiver wire for saves. I don't need to fight too much for him, but I thought that was a pretty good deal. And I guess I should have been considering Abreu at some point. But I guess, like you saying, when you're talking about another draft, you don't have your cheat sheet in front of you, and I'm talking. I'm not looking at everything else, So I'm kind of at the mercy of who's sitting in the queue and what I can choose from. So
yeah.
So I think that I'm going to have to go to, first base here. Christian Walker for Houston, steady player. I just hate to say it, but I mean, I do like out of those players, I do like Spencer Steer the most. I think just that he runs a little bit, and he's had 20 home runs like three years in a row. I don't need somebody that's going to hit 30. I don't think, but I think that if he chips in with speed, that helps. I think his average will be at least reasonable, even though all those guys kind of sit kind of low. And Zardo, has some power, but he didn't score runs. And then
I think Steer could make it back to you, Sean. Is that a little early?
Yeah, it's above his ADP, but then where am I? I'm not I'm in the middle, third base. I do like I do think that Paredes does have home run power. He's probably he's probably the guy that's makes more sense at nobody likes him, and he does slide in 15-team drafts. Like he might make it to pick 300 in 15-team drafts with his ADPs higher. I'm not going to take the Murakami guy because of the strikeouts. But you know what? I'll go here just based on his ADP and see if the other guy slides back to me.
Yeah, I think the other guy will make it back. I mean, I'd rather I like Jake Berger a lot. I mean.
Actually, Burgers would have been a fine too, but
I like Berger out of that group. Walker's probably, he's safe, but I think I like Berger out of those three myself. I think he's in for a big year at Texas, but I think Steer will make it back to you. We'll see, but I would bet on that. We'll see, and then get him at a better price. Yeah,
he'll still qualify at outfield. So yeah, I mean, it's just what do I have? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 11 hitters. I need one outfielder, a corner person, and I guess a DH, right? So that's not bad.
No, I think it's coming out nice.
Yeah. So and then pitchers is, that's you gotta you get the frontline starters, and you want to be able to finish the roster. So from some starters. So I'm not really, like I said, I'm not looking at it until it comes up here, but. Xavier Edwards, big base deal, not much power. Going to bat leadoff. Brian Reynolds, coming off a down year for Pittsburgh, should be a lot better. I think he comes along for the ride. Nice, steady player. Had a pretty good career. Shane Baz, I had him last year. He looked like he was good out of the gate. Kind of faltered. Gets traded, which means Tampa's dumping pitchers. Where they usually hang on to the ones that are better. That's kind of surprising. It's the same thing, I guess, with Baltimore trading. Grayson Rodriguez, just saying like we're done with this guy, he's over, for a 30-year-old home run hitter, Taylor Ward. Kind of interesting, but Shane Baz, can he get it done?
Yeah, I kind of like Shane Baz. Switching over to Baltimore. Yeah, I like Baz. I have a couple shares of him. I thought that was a pretty good spot right there. So I think in the 15 teamers, he is in that 10 to 15 range. What do we say? Yeah, so that's probably about right. I get confused with the 12 and the 15. So, um, but I think Boz could have a good year. It seems like a lot of the smart guys are grabbing him too. So I've been noticing that too. What else? Reynolds, I think he's going to bounce back some. Edwards, you get what you pay for. You're going to get the runs and the steals, and he hit 288, so you get a nice batting average. I just heard he was hurt the other day. He might be out a little bit, so you don't like hearing that, and it's just a leg injury, which is the worst for him. So, you know, Stott, you're going to get the speed there, the little pop. Pablo Lopez, he's out for the year, isn't he?
Well, he finessed him. He got him at pick, in the 2. Yeah, so he's out for the season. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a mistake. That's what I mean. It confused me for a minute. I thought it was somebody else. Like, wait a minute, who's that guy? Willie Abreu, like him. Montgomery. Yep.
Last year, that one crowd was on the Tovar guy a lot after having like 660 at bats the previous year. He kind of didn't get it. I actually think he probably goes a lot fair price this year. Just a year off, he could be a little bit stronger. Hit and do be a better all around player. Doesn't take a lot of walks. And the batting average may not be where you want it to be an asset, but I think he's more attractive. The Colson Montgomery guy was a really bigger guy than I thought, and then he his power really came on last year, and his Carly that average hit rate, that thing that I use, he just looks like he's just going to be like a 30 home run hitter if he gets like 550 at bats. Not a lot of speed. It looked like he was he is a better player than I thought he was 2 years ago. I didn't think he was going to be ready and take time to develop, but he came a little bit quicker in that department.
Yeah, I mean, he hit 23 home runs and how many at bats? I mean, it was like he was on pace for a lot of homers. Frelick, you like Frelick, right? I'm a Frelick guy.
I am. I'm not more in his camp this year. Just if you slide a couple more rounds, he would fit. And I just think I'm building the teams a little bit different. So I'm not, sure that I'll end up with him. Especially in a 15 teamer, it doesn't break his right. But I think that he potentially could run a little bit more. You're not going to maybe, I can't say for sure that he's going to bat second or something like that. That would be ideal. I think they're going to bat Yelich leadoff. But if he could hit up in the lineup, he's sneaky. He's not really a big guy, but he could probably still get double-digit steals, maybe get to 15. But if he needs to steal almost 35 bases to kind of get there, and I think his batting average will be helpful. I do like him. I liked him last year, but this year I've kind of like him, but neutral on drafting him.
Yeah. He was a nice surprise last year. Didn't think you're going to get any power out of him. Did he get 12 homers or something?
Yeah.
A little bit. I thought Rodon was a nice pick there too, Sean. He could be back soon, and he had a pretty good year. That could be 200 Ks right there. So that late, I got no problem with Carlos Rodon there in a 12. You could even sit him for a while if you had to.
Yeah. So we're at 2 hours. You're running out of gas here? You want to go till?
I'm going to go 2 more rounds. I'll make it an even 20. How's that?
All right, we'll go to 20 rounds, and we'll see how it. You can look at it tomorrow. I'll send out the video. So yeah. And then stuff like that. Yeah. So it's moving a little bit slower. Sometimes these get knocked out in 2 hours a little quicker. But,
this one is going a little slow, right?
Yeah, I mean, but we had that one little pause for a couple of minutes and stuff like that. But it's interesting to get, you're doing the drafts and you don't really have a plan, and you have some ideas and players, and there's a lot of really good players, real players that you're going to take that are going to have a good season, but there's also a minefield of injuries, and that's kind of the a big part of who wins or who loses. So so we'll see here. I had Abbott last year. He missed the start of the year. Was a waiver wire guy for just about nothing. And I think week 2 at the latest, maybe $20. He ended up having a nice season. I think his strikeout rate could be a little bit higher. He doesn't throw really hard. He doesn't tip the metrics that a lot of people are looking for, but I think he is a decent guy. And I think he's the 4th starter. Maybe he's going to move up 1 notch if Green ends up missing some start. I think the Heliot Ramos guy, I think that he will bounce back. He's a nice, steady outfielder. I kind of like him, and I like Varsho as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Laureano going from Baltimore was a waiver wire pickup, had a great season. Signs with San Diego. The structure of the offense has changed a little bit. I'm not sure that will be, you know, uh, that he'll have as great a season. You know, he just had he had a really good season early with the A's, and he just kind of disappeared. As you go, it's Sir Anthony Dominguez. I guess that's a pretty good value if you're looking for saves. If he can keep the job, keep his command up, and see what happens. So it's coming up to me, and I had this discussion earlier with somebody offline. You know, when I got, 5 starting pitchers, and there's a lot of young guys that can help here. But could the players like the Aaron Nola and the Zach Gallen pitchers with the innings, are they more valuable, and could they have bounce back seasons? Both of them. You got Gallen with a 4.83 ERA. Nola struggled, had injuries. Even the year before, he was a pretty good player, but he was just like up and down. He just has enough disaster. So, what do you think of veteran guys, or taking, somebody that's younger and, seeing what they can do for you?
I think Nola's going to bounce back some. What else do you have there? Like, what are my options? Like, if it's not Nola, what other pitches are you?
Well, sitting in the queues, Nola, Bieber, Gallen, Sasaki we're not taking. Boyd's okay. Bryce Miller we're not taking. Carroll's got it. Merrill Kelly's got an issue. Early's probably going to be sent to the minors. Jack Leiter upside. Garrett Cole, I guess, could be the home run swing, but he might make it one more round. If you need to carry him. I just don't. This year, I want to avoid having to carry him.
Yeah, not very much there. I like Sean. Maybe Jack Leiter the most, or maybe Nola. It'd be between those two. There's no positions you need right now. Like you got, and maybe take one of them on the way back, or like what else?
I think I'm just going to take Nola for the innings. I don't love it, but I think that he has enough experience, and these type of arms, can bounce back. But we'll see. It's not, and I can always get some other, in a 12-team, I'll find some pitchers off the waiver wire. But I'm going to go for the innings right here and see what happens. I'm going to probably bounce back to catcher we don't need, first base. I talked obviously.
Oh, yeah, you guys still there. They're all there. So that's, God, you could wait another round.
Yeah. So, but I do I want it? And that guy, and he'll also potentially qualify at the outfield position too. So, yeah. So.
Yeah, you're in good shape because there's between all three of them. You got Walker, Berger, Stair. I'd be happy with any one of them.
Yeah, he might make it back. You think? What is it? 220, 230. Steer make it to 2. It says ADP 275.
And Auto too. There's another one. I mean, that's 4. I'd be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Briscoe's pretty strong. There's a lot of guys here. I like Ryan O'Hearn. I like Luis Arias. There's plenty of guys here. I mean, if you want to help your batting average, Arias wouldn't hurt either. I mean, you could wait another round on that and then decide what's left.
Yeah, you know what? I think I might just go Gallen and just try. Like, if one of those 2 hits and I get the innings and they bounce back, if they don't,
Yeah, but, Gallen. I mean, that could be, you'd be looking at a 200 strike guy. What do you have last year?
Yeah, he had 175, but
that's what I mean, on a bad year. So
but his WHIP was 1.26. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, not horrible. I mean, he could easily bounce back some. So.
And I'll get 2 or 3 pitchers in the reserve round that I think they would help.
Because the pitching's starting to get a little ugly, so there's not much there. I like, Garrett Cole. You could, wait on him if that wouldn't be a bad one either. You got to wait, but he's throwing 97. I mean, that could be that's another one I'd be looking at. And Jack Leiter, the young guy, he didn't do too bad his first year. He's going to get better. So you got like three guys there.
Yeah, I went to Nola Gallen turn. That's exactly what I had a conversation with earlier. That I've been thinking about that. So if one of the 2 hits, whatever, obviously I need Bybee to do something, and everybody else to stay healthy. I don't know. It's not the sexy, upside pick like that. But I'm taking the innings,
right,
and hoping that both players pitch better this year. And Gallen has been a top 4-round pitcher when he's at his best. We'll see. Not something I plan. Bryce Miller had him last year. Really liked him. Thought he was going to come on. I don't think he's healthy. He had that other issue. I know it wasn't arm related, but I see him there, and I should gravitate to him, but I just kind of afraid of the injury risk. Westberg coming off an injury. I think, I guess he could hit, and he could have Tommy John surgery. It's not just doesn't fit into my lane what I'm thinking about. Luis Arise hits for batting average. Not a lot of home runs, not a lot of speed and runs. I mean, he's kind of like a specialty player that might fit better in a 15-teamer, but he is least discount. I don't know. Going to be a tough manage, I think. Riley O'Brien.
Arias should hit higher too. 292 for him is low, and he did give you double-digit speed, which wasn't expecting. So I think I kind of like him that late. Like if he can get back to like 315, 320, keep the double-digit speed, score more runs, are they going to bat him leadoff? I mean, that would be nice.
Yeah. The Riley O'Brien, I don't know. He's a 30-year-old guy. I guess the closing job is up for grabs in St. Louis. He was a little banged up. I don't know if he pitched in the World Baseball Classic. Team 6 drafting Eddie Gillis' favorite player, Jose Calabero.
That's one of my guys, but you didn't need him, so I didn't have to bring him up. Like if you needed speed, there's a good guy to grab. 4 positions. I've got 5 or 6 shares of them. So let me see. 12-teamer, 20. That's probably about right? What would that be? 16th round in the 15-teamer. There's another guy I like Ryan Weathers too. He's hitting 98. He just has to stay healthy.
Yeah. Alec Baum, I'm kind of fading that guy. I've had him in the past. I thought he would, have a bounce up. He's a big guy. I thought he would hit more home runs. He hasn't done it. He'll probably do it this year. This guy takes Jonathan Aranda, who's hit for average in the past and showed a little power. Checks a lot of boxes, but can he actually get 550 at bats and stay on the field? But I don't know. I mean, I'm neutral on Aranda, but I probably won't end up with him.
Baum went for $18 in that National League auction. I couldn't believe that.
Did they have the labor auctions already?
Yeah, they had it out. I guess the Frank Stamps, he's a good fantasy player. He took him. I heard him on a radio show today saying he was bummed out with his Alex Baum pick. And it's so funny because that's the one pick that just stuck out like widely. Was at the end of the draft, you had $18 left and you needed a position. That's all I could think of. But it was funny hearing him on the show telling everyone that was his worst pick. And here I am, noticing it a couple of days ago. But yeah,
I'm gonna if the labor thing, I'll send Steve Gardner a thing, and I'll post the labor drafts on that spreadsheet that I put there.
Yeah, they're out there. So I'd like to. We got our American League auction coming up, so that's not a bad one to have to just get a gauge of prices.
Yeah, I mean that's first. That's what we used to do. We used to wait for that and get prepped for it. To go to Vegas, and that's probably why we had a little more success because other people maybe not even view that as important information. But
that was it. There goes Jack Leiter. I like him. So he just went like Weathers. He went O'Brien. I am not touching him. So
yeah, there's your Dominguez guy is a little been moving up.
I've been getting a little of him just because. I need an outfielder. He's like my 5th, 6th outfielder. He stole 23 bases. Is Stanton already dinged up? I know he's got that elbow problem. I mean, if Dominguez gets a chance, I think he can improve. So, and not a big deal. I'm getting him so late where I could sit him or even waive him. So, but definitely some upside with Dominguez, especially the speed.
You think Marcus Semien has another bullet in his gun? Coming up.
Yes, I do. I like Marcus Semien this year. And you can get him late, and he's gonna, he gets the at bats, and he had no fear. He's gonna do better this year. He's one of those second basemen you can, get late if you don't get, one of the big 3. Otto Lopez is another one. I kind of like some of the second basemen late. I can live with Semien. I can live with Otto Lopez. I can live with Polanco. I mean, there's a lot of good deals late on second base.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like I would, normally if I double at shortstop, I'm okay cheating it. I think, especially in a 15-teamer, this stuff will be spread out a little wider. I think Semien might end up hitting 5th or 6th, and if he could have 5th, that might be pretty good for him. There's Cole.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that. He's hitting 97 already. He could be back in a month, and I know he's getting older, but that's a very good gamble there. Kind of like all those Yankee pitchers right now. You know, him, Weathers, and Rodon, all nice value picks. There goes
Yeah,
one. There's one of the first basemen off the board.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
there's another one of our guys, Sean.
Yeah, I like him. If he made, but I mean, once I took the Nola Gallon thing, I was
Yeah,
giving up that type
you're all
of
set.
pitcher. But I do think he's a good arm and stuff like that. But
Yep,
so
big
let's see.
dude.
I don't think I can wait. I don't know if this is ideal, but we'll see. Third base, Correa, is he all done? I don't. Well, yeah. I just like I said, it's just yeah. Yeah.
So
So
many, there's so many good ones here. You got Steer, Berger, Manzato,
I
O'Hearn.
just take most people don't like Steer. Just think that that guy takes Sasaki on the auto.
Oh, I got a draft going on.
Oh, that guy's on auto. The guy that took Sasaki and profile. What?
Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take this guy, and I'm gonna gamble that he has a better season this year too.
Who you taking?
It gives me if Steer can qualify in the outfield, then that gives me another guy at corner,
Yep.
or I can play him at DH.
Yeah, I like
Um,
Vargas.
Yeah, so but I still need another outfielder, but I do have at least four, two first basemen, two third basemen, and then I need one more outfielder. Preferably, I probably would be looking for somebody who could hit 20 home runs with batting average. But we got 22nd round. You were banging out of here, so you want me to let you go?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get going. I wanted to see your last two picks, so I'm good. I'll check this out in the morning, Sean.
Yeah, I'll push this out on the Substack thing and put the board on there too, and we'll see how we finish and we'll see how the season goes. But appreciate your time and thanks for anybody listening to this draft. It's over 2 hours. Like I said, it was a little slower, and it'll be on fantasyanalyst.substack.com probably by 10 a.m. tomorrow, which doesn't matter because if you're hearing this, you've already found this this draft. So, but I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Later, Sean.